Welcome, everyone. Thanks for being here. We are going to get started here in just a moment. I'd love to give everyone just a couple minutes here to join. Sometimes it takes a minute. Looks like we're going to have a great group. Go ahead and as you're joining, let us know where you're joining from. My name is Kate Deering. I'm an assistant director within Gies Online Programs. I'm actually located here in Champaign-Urbana, local here. I've been here since, since I did my undergrad here in 1999. So I've been here for a long time. Love Champaign. So where's everybody else from? Dallas. Excellent. Welcome. All right. Well, as you join, let us know where you're from. Saudi Arabia. Perfect. We love our global students. We love when, you join us. Oh, we got someone from the Ukraine, Chicago girl in Honolulu. Love that. Excellent. We've got another Dallas, Texas. So this is perfect. This is a great representation of, kind of our programs. We usually have people from all over the world. We have over 100 countries represented in our credentials and our degree programs, actually degree programs more specifically. So welcome. I will get started here slowly. My name is Kate Deering. I am an assistant director within Gies Online Programs. So I work in the recruitment space. Many of you may have worked with me or talked with me and had a conversation in the past. I love helping prospective students figure out if this is right for you, and also just sharing a lot of information, kind of introducing you to some of our current students. That's one of my favorite things to do. I love making those connections so that you can actually really learn from those that are in the program and learn from somebody who's actually really just going through what you're thinking about testing out here in the future. So we have some wonderful guests here today, and they are going to share some really great information on consulting. So this is the second of a 3-part series where we're looking into return on investment, because hopefully you're asking yourself, that question: what kind of return on investment am I going to have after I pursue this credential or this degree? And yes, that's an important question. We want you to make sure that you have value and that you get your money's worth, and more importantly, that you learn specific skills and tips and tools that you can use in your current role to really impact your career. So we have 2 special panelists today, Mark Moore and Stephanie Schultz, and they are going to share their perspective here in a little bit. Here's our agenda. So I do, some of you may be new to Gies, and so I do want to give you just a little bit of an overview of what we're about here at Gies. We're going to talk a little bit about the structure of our courses and what makes us different and how we deliver our information to our students. We'll do a couple of quick slides on the specific master's degrees, but knowing that, if you're not quite ready for a master's degree, we do have other credentials, and we can talk about those if you have questions about that too. And then we'll get into our student stories. So we're going to hold off on those introductions just here in a minute, because I know they have that incorporated into their slides. So excellent. We've got Chicago represented here today too, Annapolis, Maryland. Perfect. So glad you guys are all here. And honestly, if this is your first webinar or your first kind of iDegree workshop that you've attended, thank you. I think it's really important to take that first step, do a little research, come get to know us a little bit, and hopefully you like what you hear, and then we can take that next step and really help you dig in and get your questions answered. So let's just jump in to give you just an overview of Gies business. If you're new to the program and to our college, Gies business is made up of 3 main qualities. This is kind of what we focus a lot on here in our program: flexibility, stackability, and then online by design. You're going to hear the word flexible and flexibility a lot, because that is really a big part of why we designed our programs like we did, what we're about here, because everything is 100% online as far as the credentials that we offer. This means that there's no travel requirements. In addition to your already busy life with your 40+ hour work weeks, your families, your extracurricular activities, we actually designed this program to work with that in mind. You'll have access to your group projects. your live sessions, all of those things will be virtual. We're also flexible in how you design your degree pen. We really give the power to you, and this is your degree. You get to design it however you'd like, however fast you want to work through the program. That's really up to you. As long as you complete maybe like one of our master's degrees within the 5 years, that is a graduate college rule, we're happy. The majority will give you some timelines of what the average time to completion is, but as far as how you work through the program, you'll take 1 or 2 courses each 8-week term, and that will dictate how fast you move, towards your degree. And that's really up to you, how you pair your courses, and you get to kind of design that yourself. And then lastly, as far as flexibility goes, we do have a pay-as-you-go tuition model. So it is pretty nice. You only pay for each course that you're registered for. So you'll register for 1 course, you'll pay for that course. If you take 2, you'll register for 2 of those and then only have that payment due for those 2 courses. So really nice, spreads it out a little bit as you move throughout the program. Stackability. So if you're not quite sure where to start, one of the things that's really great about, I think, our online credentials is that we have something for everyone. We'll talk about this in the next slide, but we have access points to meet you wherever you're at and whatever you're ready for. So if you want to start small and start with maybe a MOOC, and we'll tell you what that is here in a moment, that's great. You're going to start there, and that's going to be stackable into the next step. Like maybe you'll take a 4 credit hour course and try everything out. Maybe you're ready for a graduate certificate, or maybe you just want to jump straight into the degree. Those are all great options, and we're happy to help you figure out which one of those is right for you. Lastly, online by design. This really means that, when you're researching your programs, there's a lot of online programs out there. We actually designed this program specifically all the way back in 2016 is when we launched. So obviously we spent a couple of years before that really figuring out how we were going to do this, but the IMBA program became an online program at that point. We launched the IMBA. And we really focused in on designing a program that could be offered to thousands of learners worldwide without giving up the interaction and that collaboration with your fellow students. That part was really important to us. And so we intentionally designed the structure of our courses, how we combine asynchronous components with synchronous components, to give you that full experience, but not miss out on any of the problem solving and the collaboration that you would have in like group projects and in, something that you might have more of in an in-person program. So we really did create that highly engaging content for you to access anywhere without giving up your career, your family time, all of those things. It works in right with that. So, and hopefully our panelists will be able to explain that a little bit this evening as well. So okay, so those are really the 3 main qualities that we've built upon. The University of Illinois is a land-grant institution, and I think the Gies College of Business has really taken that to heart in how we've offered affordable education to learners worldwide. We've really created this kind of life-changing access to education by having these online courses. So we're really proud of what we've done here, and hopefully you'll find that there is a place for you, and we'll talk about kind of all of those entry points here in a moment. Mark, I know you're going to introduce yourself in a moment, but what did any of these resonate with you when you were looking at the MSM program?
Yeah, those really all of them, right? So I was working professional. So being able to take this step by step, the pay as you go, stackable. I'm an IMSM student, but I like that I've got the option when I complete my degree, I can roll into an IMBA. Yeah, just a lot of the flexibility. And one of the things you mentioned with the live interaction with the other students and the instructors was a big tipping point for me between the programs I was looking at.
Good. And we're going to cover that, like what happens in a live session, and maybe you can expand upon that here in a little bit. But that's great feedback. I think that's kind of one of the main reasons a lot of people choose Gies for their education. But when we talk about stackability, I just wanted to share this quick slide on all of the different ways that you can start really. These are all buildable steps in, in different access points that you can start in. So if you look at this slide, we have the free online courses. Those are called MOOCs. Those are massive open online courses. Those are actually part of every single 4-credit transcriptable course that we offer at Gies Online, in Gies Online programs. Those are foundational material that's found on the Coursera platform, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But those are modules, they're non-credit bearing, and there's 2 of those in every 4-credit-hour course. So the second box, that represents one full course that you would apply to be part of our non-degree program, and then you would take a course that has our Gies faculty. It also has some of that MOOC content included in it, and you would have 4 hours of transcript credit after. That could be stackable into either a degree or a graduate certificate at a later time. I personally think this is a great option for someone who is not sure about if whether or not this is the right choice for them. You start with one course and you're in courses with the MBA, MS, I mean, it just depends on which course you take, but you really get a good sense of the high engagement, also how that works with the asynchronous component, and see if you like it. Hopefully you do, and then you can stack that at a later time. We also have the grad certs, which are 12 credit hours. Those are really great starting points. Maybe your employer is just looking for you to work on advancing your skills in a specific area like digital marketing, or maybe strategic leadership and management. Entrepreneurship is a really big one for us right now. But you could do 12 credit hours and have a diploma that you earn from that grad cert, and then go back to work and use that knowledge. A year later, you could stack those 12 credit hours into the MSM or the MBA program, or the MSA program for that matter. So a really nice building block there. And then of course we have our 3 online master's degrees, the IMSM, IMBA, and the IMSA programs that you could just start out right in. So yeah, so that's really the basics of the stackability. Online by design, really, I just wanted to touch on how we structure our courses. There's an asynchronous component, and then there's also a high engagement component. That asynchronous component, as I said, is found on the Coursera platform. That's a really large educational platform that we partner with to offer kind of like your textbook in our courses. It is made up of, like, one MOOC would be 4 modules where you're going to work through pre-recorded videos from our faculty members. You'll have some self-assessed quizzes. You will have some reading assignments, peer evaluation. That's all done asynchronously on your own time. Then you're going to add in the high engagement component from Gies, where you'll have live weekly lectures that are 90 minutes long, where your faculty member will be there. You'll have breakout sessions. You'll be working with your professor. They might call on you. You're talking through problems and projects during that live session. Of course, you're going to have your kind of your lesson delivered as well. Outside of that, you'll have group projects. You'll have faculty office hours. All of this is kind of the place where you'll be able to interact and collaborate with other students in the program. Mark, in your words, can you describe kind of how those work together?
Yeah, so it works really smoothly with the asynchronous on Coursera, kind of going through the details of the the video recorded lecture, feeding in, working in advance, watching those in advance, and then feeding into the live lecture. I feel like the live lecture is a lot like sitting in a class, right? It's like you're in a lecture, all those opportunities to comment, like many of you are, today, putting comments into the chat. And then eventually, with breakouts, meeting people from different parts of the world and different backgrounds, and working on those breakout topics. It's a very good way to do it. I think it's a rich online experience. I'm very, as you can tell, I'm pleased with my decision to work with Gies.
Yeah, that's a good perspective. It is. I think these live sessions can be anywhere from 65 to 250 students in one live session, but it doesn't feel crowded. You're going to have those breakout sessions. It just depends on the class how big it will be. But believe me, you're going to get to know your faculty member. They call on people like you. They all have kind of their unique approach. With some open 'em with music, some make everybody sing a song. Like they all have their own individual spin and kind of touch on each class, but they make it really fun. So okay, so we're at 6:17. Here's just the next 3 slides are really just an overview of our iDegree programs. While I'm kind of getting into the MSM, which Mark is part of, throw in the chat, let me know which credential you're interested in. Is it the IMSM, IMSA, IMBA, or are you looking into more of a graduate certificate? Maybe you're not ready for any of those and you just want to try a course. Let me know kind of where you're at so that I know what our audience is looking into. Okay, we've got MSM, little MS. So we got a little bit of everything. So, okay, well, let me touch on the MSM first. This is a great degree. This is obviously the degree that Mark is in. The MSM is going to give you the essential leadership and management skills in your career that you need to impact your career. You're going to develop a lot of kind of confidence by expanding your communication and your leadership skills. You're going to be able to understand new technologies in global change and also, recent market trends. And then you're also going to be able to really problem solve across different areas like finance, marketing, operations, accounting. So you're going to get a really great foundation in leadership and management skills. We have, obviously, we have consultants in the management degree. We have a lot of non-business backgrounds that are looking to kind of develop a leadership and management base. We have highly technical backgrounds that are looking to pivot and maybe take on managing a team, or maybe they just need to broaden their business knowledge. So we have a lot of different backgrounds. The MSM comes in at just under $12K. You can take anywhere from 1 to 5 years. Usually it's 1 to 2. What pace are you on, Mark? Are you doing one course at a time?
I'm doing one course at a time. So
okay.
Yeah, it'll be just about a year and a half.
Okay. We do have 5 start dates. So if you're interested in the MSM, also the MBA, you can start pretty much anytime. So if you start an application, we have a term that will be coming up for you. You'll take 9 classes, so 6 core and then 3 electives. And then just remember a new stackability option that we recently announced in the past kind of year and a half is the MSM is fully stackable into the MBA. So you could not maybe think like you don't need the full MBA and you want to start with the MSM and just develop that leadership and management base. And then at a later time, you could decide, maybe you've taken on a role that you need to have a little bit more in-depth financial accounting, business theory. Then you could stack that into the MBA at a later date. Master's of Business Administration is going to include that MSM and then take it a step further. As we said, you're going to get much more in depth with business theory. You're also going to really talk a lot about current trends with lots of examples from your faculty members on, current case studies in different company problems and projects that you will solve. This one is the MBA comes in at just under 24,000 US dollars. Anywhere from 2 to 3 years is average, but again, you have that 5-year maximum. So if you do want to stretch it out, you can. And then 5 start dates. This one's 18 courses. So if you're stacking the MSM, the MSM is 9, and then you have 9 courses left. So you're halfway done with tuition, and then you would have that last half. The only difference with the MBA, or there's many differences, but you will have capstone projects, which is 2 capstone projects on 3 course combinations that you kind of review everything you learned in those 3 courses, and then you'll have a program capstone as well. And then lastly, we've got the MSA, or the Master of Science in Accountancy. This is going to build expertise in the fundamentals of accounting, so financial reporting, audit and control, and U.S. federal taxation. We have mid-level professionals looking to move into that C-suite, or we have a lot of learners in this program that are brand new to the field and they want to kind of switch careers and start fresh and build that foundation in accounting through an IMSA. This one's 20 to 28K depending on your elective choices, a little shorter on the low end, 18 to 36 months. And then we only have the 3 start dates, January, May, and August for the MSA program. This one you'll do 8 courses, and then 3 of those are electives. And we do have a couple tracks that you can choose, like a data analytics concentration if you would like, or you can just make your own path as well. And again, this one is actually stackable into the MBA as well, so same benefits there. Okay, I'm going to pause here and just check out the chat. Is it mandatory to do IMBA after the MSM, or can I stop after? Oh yeah, if you just need leadership and management skills, the MSM is perfect for you. If you don't, you're still going to have a little financial accounting and finance. But if you don't need that full MBA, yes, we have plenty of people who just do the MSM and do not stack. So you would just apply to the MSM from the start. Looks like that's the only question. I see one question in the Q&A. How can I apply for an application fee waiver? We actually currently do not have an application fee. We won't have one for our current deadline, which is up to May 2nd, which is our priority 1 deadline for the fall. And then we actually have no application fee through June 6th, which is our second deadline. So, so that is perfect. All right, I am going to stop sharing my screen, and it looks like Stephanie, welcome Stephanie. Stephanie has joined us. I am going to go ahead and switch gears now, and we are going to, let me just get my slides here right. We're going to switch gears and move over to our guests. I know that this is kind of the main attraction tonight, and so we're so fortunate that we have 2 current students that will be able to really share how they've used their degrees and impacted their own careers. And I thought, what better way to share that is to have them highlight a little bit about their background, talk to us a little bit about their path in the degree and how they saw kind of immediate impact, and then after Gies, what their plans are. And where they see their degrees impacting from there. So I'm going to turn it over to Stephanie Schultz, who is currently in the MBA program and in consulting. And Stephanie, do you mind taking over and introducing yourself and
Oh, yes.
going from there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Welcome.
Thank you, Kate. Hi, everyone. As Kate mentioned, I'm Stephanie Schultz. I am an HR consultant based out of Biloxi, Mississippi, and my background is mostly in HR. So I have been in the internal side of HR and have moved into what we call external consulting. So I consult out to clients of various sizes and various industries to help them understand how to better have an HR strategy and implement those processes.
Stephanie,
So with that, oh, yes.
Do you mind turning your camera on, or are you purposely? We can't see you right now.
Yeah, for some reason, my camera is not letting me connect for some reason. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to double check in case we weren't on the
All good.
So go ahead. Sorry about that.
No problem. So I chose the MBA because I wanted to expand my business acumen. I'm fairly young in my career, and so one of the things I realized quickly, not just within consulting, but as an HR professional, is, I don't want to be a silo and not understand the other operations, the accounting, the finance piece. I want to be able to understand, not be an expert, but at least be able to talk about it when I'm speaking to my clients. And so that was one of the biggest reasons why I went after an MBA. And also too, just gaining new skills in general. I wanted to learn more about how to be a better leader, how to analyze data better. And so really wanted to hone in on my MBA program. And then finally, I do have this dream to be on Shark Tank at one day. So I'm not sure what idea I have yet, but I want to be able to have that entrepreneurship background, or at least the education behind it, to really be able to have my own business in the future, or, be able to lead that. And so to segue into, go back one more slide, Kate. To segue as to why I chose Gies for my MBA, Gies really stood out to me because they have the flexibility for scheduling. I move quite frequently, and so being able to take my MBA program with me is one of the biggest highlights of my career. And also just when I have, when I'm working, when I'm consulting, I'm traveling all those different hours, I can do my homework, I can do my Coursera videos on the go. And one of the biggest things as well is the global networking. I have met people from other countries I probably wouldn't had never met before, had it not been for Gies. And so that was one of the my favorite parts, is just being able to meet new people and really understand, what their backgrounds are. And then the curriculum is always changing. This semester, I'm taking the emerging technologies and disruption technologies around AI. That's a brand new course, and it has been so exciting to see, how to really look to the future of technology. And that's not something you might see in other MBA programs. So thinking about the return on investment is definitely a big question that I had when I started looking for my MBA and started talking with Gies. And so I definitely have seen a lot of improvements just as my own personal self, as well as, how I can operate better as a consultant. And so we have definitely seen an increase or decrease of project completion. We have a better ability to wrap up projects more tied in a nice bow, rather than having, sloppy ends here and there. So it's really nice to see that project in a box, if you will, because the project management course really helped me to understand that a little bit more. I've also seen a lot of revenue increase, just being able to, again, better understand what the clients are asking for, and not just thinking about the HR part, but how does this affect the operations? How does it affect the finance? And so I have seen my revenue growth has definitely increased. Also, too, just being able to understand the workflows better. How can I be a leader and ask questions, the right questions on, how can I help support you with this? And how can I really be a strong leader, a servant leader for you? And then lastly, expanding network, making sure I have that network that's going to back me up and support me in my future is something that is, I would say, priceless, in my opinion. And so after Gies, after I'm done with my program, as I mentioned, I would love to be a small business owner, maybe a future Shark Tank. You might see me on there in a few years. You never know. And also, too, thinking about maybe joining that C-suite executive level one day is definitely a goal that I have in my head. But really what I have for, targeted SMART goals is just developing others' careers. I love to give back rather than just take. So I want to be able to impact my colleagues that I've met in the MBA program and help them develop themselves. And just being a better consultant overall. You can never, hit the ceiling of being a good consultant. You'll always have new projects and new problems that you'll have to face. And I want to be able to stay connected to Gies. That's definitely something that they support and advocate for. And so very excited that I can continue to make an impact for Gies. And lastly, what I would change, one thing I would change is maybe taking my time. I have a very selfish goal that I want to finish my MBA before I'm 30. And so I've been doing double courses for the past year and a half. And so, maybe I would love to just have a slower timeline, maybe take more time to complete my MBA and really be able to enjoy the program, because I'm going to miss it dearly. And also, too, just not being afraid to fail. Not necessarily fail the courses, but being able to kind of be out there and take a risk and be able to really speak up for yourselves and share ideas. You'll never know, if you meet somebody in the networking piece, they might hear something from you and say, wow, this is awesome. Let's talk more about that. So never be afraid to speak up or potentially, put yourself out there.
Excellent, Stephanie. I love that. I am so excited to see you on Shark Tank. In fact, we had, I think it was like a month ago, we had one of our former students was on Shark Tank. And I think he got the deal. So
He did, yes.
he had the bionic hand, and yeah, so it's super exciting, and I hope you follow in his path. That'd be awesome. Um, well, thank you for sharing that. And as you all, all of our guests here today, if you have specific questions on consulting and how Stephanie has, kind of learned specific skills maybe to impact her career, or whatever questions you have, throw them in the chat. And we'll definitely make sure that we answer those. That's what they're here for. So honestly, if you have any questions about the classwork or how anything works, group projects, I think they're game to answer those questions as well, while we have them here. So don't be afraid to ask those as well. So, okay, we are gonna keep moving here because I do want to allow time at the end for everyone's questions, and we are gonna move on to Mark. So Mark Moore is here. He is in the MSM program, and he's gonna introduce himself. Thanks for being here, Mark. I'm gonna turn it over to you now.
All right, thank you. Yeah, so as we've already talked a little bit, I'm in the IMSM. I'm on track to complete that at the end of this year, and I'm going on the slow path, unlike Stephanie. So I'm one course at a time. Located in southern Minnesota, in a rural area, which works well for my background. My career has been in agribusiness, equipment, and ag technology marketing. And I am currently an independent consultant on marketing topics. So why Gies? Really key to choosing this program was being friendly to the working situation, being able to set the pace of the courses one at a time, and be able to comfortably accomplish that. The live interaction was a big decision point for me, being able to interact with the instructors and students, as opposed to just being all one directional. But right along with that was the great reputation. And I guess a full disclosure here, I'm actually a University of Illinois alum. So my undergraduate is in agriculture. And so it worked well, for my roots, but also, really Gies reputation is just top notch for what I want to accomplish. And then being able to kind of go incrementally manage my cost, one class at a time, really helped. I'm not like on a corporate sponsorship or any tuition reimbursement program. So out of my pocket, this really helped. So my impact, why did I do this? My goal is kind of leading others to accomplish the business goals more effectively. So that's going to be I'm mid-career. I've got a lot of cross-functional experience, but there are gaps, right? You can only do so many things. You can only work with so many different functions in depth, even by mid-career. And getting an extra look at it from kind of the courses that we go through was my goal, to really strengthen that leadership and working with the other departments in my role. I should say too, and I think an important part of my story is I was actually not a consultant when I started the program. I was head of sales and marketing for a private family-run automation firm, and that's going to kind of lead into what are my goals with this. And so it's being able to get into new areas, new lines of work, doing the consulting. My involvement with Gies, the IMSM, was a big part of feeling like I could, step out and go ahead and do this. So how's it helped me so far? That's, as I mentioned, filling the gaps, even in experienced areas. And I would say as an applicant to the program, I was like, okay, I've done this now for 25 years. And I don't, I'm not going to be doing something just, for a piece of paper. I wanted to still be learning and not just validating what I already knew. And I'm finding that is the case. So it's useful, good, and able to fill those gaps, even in, the marketing class where I've been in marketing for a long time. Yeah, there's still things to learn and people to interact with and grow. And then applying those frameworks, there's a difference between what you learn through experience and kind of build yourself versus the frameworks that are sort of the common language, among the management, in this case, consulting field, right? So applying those frameworks to more effectively consult and communicate the knowledge and recommendations it has been a big positive impact. So ROI so far has been, more effective, business cases and market plans. When I was, prior to launching the consulting, developing my team as well more effectively in my previous role. Now, trying to put a dollar amount to that in my consulting services now, rather than just being on the marketing, kind of the customer needs and communications part of marketing. There's an important element to my services that I have added, which is, team development, cross-functional team performance, which adds capabilities to my portfolio and the ability to take on some higher paying consulting work as well. So skills impact, I found some of the things that really helped right away were the, things like managing, sources of power. There's obviously lots of management insights, but sources of power and managing change has been an important part. That's been information that I've been able to apply very quickly, almost immediately, from classroom into my consulting services as I help clients manage their change. Some, accounting and finance, details have reinforced my reporting and my advising, and then developing others. So, like I mentioned, that team development. So some of those specifics get into helping clients understand cash conversion cycles, helping them understand the decision biases, which actually that was important for me personally as well when it came to the decision: do I start the consulting business now or wait, right? So understanding decision biases and managing change was useful personally too. So where do I want to go with this in the future? So mid-career, right? So I'm looking at stronger consulting services as a result, or executive opportunities that come from the consulting services, and then family time and control of schedule. So obviously managing or maintaining the consulting side of my business helps me to maintain a little better control of my schedule, and get that life career balance better for me. Doors opening in the process here in the IMSM program has been the networking. Stephanie mentioned that. You're talking with people, you're working with people in classes, you've got contacts around the world. And then the big one there is going ahead and relaunching myself as an independent consultant. And would I change anything? Kate, you mentioned that 2016 was the first one of the programs, and as an alum, I noticed that. And if I could do something different, I would have jumped on this sooner.
Thanks, Mark. I will say we've had a lot of panelists and current students that come, and that is a theme. I feel like you can put it off forever, and a lot of people, when we ask them kind of at the end what their advice is that they really wish that they started sooner, because yes, it's a rigorous program. All three of the degrees they're difficult, and it's very time consuming. It's a big commitment, but not everybody, but a lot of people wish that they started much sooner in their program. So all right, Mark, that was amazing. Thank you, Stephanie. I see a couple questions specifically. Mark, do you feel like Satish is asking if he needs an accounting background in the IMSM? that's not a requirement. We have many different backgrounds, but can you just kind of share a little bit about maybe the folks that have been in your classes and like what kind of backgrounds they've had?
Yeah. So well, I'll have to test my memory, but my group, for example, in the class, this was accounting, measurement, and reporting. That included IT manager for a tool manufacturer. It included a variety of backgrounds. So obviously myself in sales and marketing at the time. That are not accounting, right? There were others that were kind of sales related. So no, there's it's obviously going in. There's some, if you have some experience in a class, it helps it go a little smoother, but it there having you don't need to have the accounting and finance background.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you look at the MSM in particular, I think any career can benefit from leadership and management focus and skills there. Really, it is applicable to anybody's background. And that is reflected in the types of students that we have in the program.
Yeah, and I would say too, of the required classes, there's an introduction to finance that's required, and I chose to take an additional optional one that's in accountancy. But there's other ways you can steer this based on what's interesting to you and what you feel your strengths are, your best future skill set should be.
Yeah, I mean, we have a bunch of electives that you get to choose from, and so I mean, you do have the chance to cater your degree to what your interests are. So I'm glad you pointed that out. Stephanie, there was a question for you. If you can talk a little bit in depth about one of the courses, let me just look back at this question. Can you speak in depth on one course that you've really liked in the program?
Oh, yeah. So this was actually my very first semester. So January last year, I took the BADM 508, the Strategic Leadership course. That was a fantastic course to launch my MBA. It really gives you a lot of information that you can utilize for other courses, especially thinking about the group projects. And so Professor Luckman was fantastic in being able to really make it easy to understand how to be a better leader. And the live sessions are always very interactive and very fun. So you're never bored, in the live sessions. And we also did an Everest climb. It's like a virtual, Everest climb where you have to act like you're climbing Everest. You have to work with your team virtually and figure out how to make sure that everyone is staying accountable and being responsible and working as a team. And so that was just really fun to start my MBA and just be able to truly understand in action how to be a leader.
Yeah, that course is a great starting point. Honestly, if anybody's here and just wants to take a course, pay tuition, apply as a non-degree student and try a course, that is really a great one. The faculty members in that course are amazing. You really do learn so much. I did actually the MOOCs that correspond to that course. I haven't done the full course, but excellent choice. So thanks for breaking that down. There's one question from Brian, if you decide to stack, where did it go? If you decide to stack the MSM and the MBA degrees, would it be two separate costs or just the one price of the MBA since the classes are the same? So yes, if you stack, you're going to pay the $12,000 for the MSM degree first, and then you'll have, since that's 36 credit hours, that's 9 courses times it's around $1,300 per course. You would have then, if you apply and you stack that into the MBA, you'd have 9 courses left, same charge per credit hour. And so you'd have about $12,000 left. So it's going to be the same cost, whether you stack or just enter the MBA program. It really kind of depends on what your goals are and, kind of what your career is and what you're looking to get out of the program. Do you need that in-depth MBA focus where you're going to get much deeper into some of those topics. So hopefully that answered your question, Brian. Yes, if you stack the MBA and the MSM, you would start with the MSM, you would earn your master's in management, Master's of Science in Management, and then you would apply to the MBA program to stack that, and then you would earn a Master's of Business Administration. So that would be 2 diplomas and 2 master's degrees. Is there a future price protection for current enrolling students? Currently, we don't. You know, our courses are very affordably priced. We've had minor credit hour increases as far as the cost goes since I've been here in the last 3 or 4 years. So it definitely doesn't, we haven't taken any real big jumps, but no, we don't have any type of price locking at this point. Great questions. Keep those coming. Especially if you have specific questions on kind of the consulting industry. While you're throwing those questions in there, I am going to share a couple last slides here. And we are at 6:47, so just kind of wrapping up. Excuse me. Actually, let me back up one more slide. So this slide is really if you're interested in any of these credentials and, you know, but the degree programs in particular, the IMBA, IMSM, and IMSA programs are all, those applications are open for fall, and our next deadline is coming up on May 2nd. And honestly, that's the best deadline to apply for because you have the maximum benefits. There's no application fee. If you're interested in a scholarship, that is the only deadline to apply. The scholarship applications are within your program application. You have to submit them at the same time. You would have early access to our networking platforms, priority registration, and then you could also begin working on the Coursera component in our courses. You can start working on that as soon as you're admitted, and you have access to your Coursera for Illinois for Coursera through your enrollment. We do have like a new student checklist, and we get you all set up, and then you'd be able to begin working on that component ahead of time, which might be a nice advantage over the summer. So. And then lastly, if you're interested in having someone from our team reach out to you, go ahead and scan this QR code, and we have admission counselors. They can actually set up a time to chat with you via phone or Zoom and call you sooner than later and just make sure that we have a conversation and answer the questions that you have. Okay, I'm going to jump back to the questions here. And we just have a few more minutes. Are the MSA and MSM fully a subset of MBA? I'm not totally sure what you're getting at, Vipul. So if you can add a little bit more. Yes, the MSM is made up of 6 courses that are in the MBA. Those are the core courses. You're actually in the same courses, but your group projects will be with other MSM students. And then you do have those elective choices that are going to be different than the MBA. And then the MSA is quite different than the MSM and the MBA. So if you have specific questions about that, feel free to add those back into the chat. How does Coursera help us? What is the purpose of the Coursera? I'm going to let Mark and Stephanie kind of jump in on this. Why the MOOCs? How does that work in, and how does that benefit you in the program?
Sure, I'll make a couple comments. So the Coursera delivery is the it's kind of, from my perspective, sitting like being in the big lecture class, right? You've got the information is kind of coming at you like you would in a large format lecture, but it's the recorded, and but you get some good benefits in that there's a transcript and you can pause, you can take notes. So that I find that the two work together well, in that then the live one, you get more of that discussion feel, back to the lecture versus discussion type class format. So it's coming at one, it's recorded, but still is kind of setting the stage for the more detailed discussions that you get later in the live sessions.
Yeah, I agree with that, Mark. And I'll just add, like, it's a really strong foundation as to, what you're going to talk about in the live session. And then there's a lot of aha moments I have in the live sessions where I'm like, I don't really understand this concept. And then, we'll talk about it in the breakout rooms, or we'll just talk about it in general with the professors. And it really allows me to go back as well and then be able to reapply what I've learned into the MOOCs. And so just being able to kind of always go back to the MOOCs and be able to understand the course concepts is really helpful.
There's one more question regarding this. Are they heavy in knowledge, or are they just lightweight foundational? That's the question there. So I'm curious what you guys would say.
I would say they're heavy. And I'd say also too, it depends on the course. I heard investments is really heavy in terms of the videos.
Yeah, essentially
Yeah.
the MOOCs are like 4 modules is one MOOC, right? And then that usually corresponds with 4 weeks of our 8-week term. And then you move into your second MOOC. But each MOOC has in a module, what would you guys say? Describe that for me, Mark. You're going to have the videos from your professors and.
Yeah. So you typically, there's the videos that's a couple, maybe a couple hours of videos of the lecture for the week. Then there's quizzes at each kind of module or subset throughout the lecture to test knowledge as you proceed along. And then at the end, there's a graded quiz that needs to be passed in order to move on to the next topic. And some of the modules will also have peer graded assignments too. So you'll write and maybe an essay or answer some questions that are then looked at by fellow students and graded. And you'll also grade some of theirs. So there's some knowledge tests at the end as you go through them.
Yeah, that's a great description. I really think it does. It just provides the foundational material. You're kind of like your textbook. And then a lot of students decide, to work on that maybe the week before. Then the next week is the live session, which is going to kind of pull through those concepts. Some people do it the same week. Like you'll be able to kind of decide how you want to tackle that. And you'll learn quickly, I'm sure, what works best for you. There's a lot of different strategies, but there's a question, do we have to buy a textbook for each course? No, the Coursera component really is your textbook. The MBA program does have a couple Harvard business case study reviews that you will purchase, but those are nominal fees. But otherwise, yeah, everything's all inclusive in the tuition. So. All right, I think we've got most of the questions answered. I saw one question on the scholarship. We do offer a scholarship in partnership with Coursera for it reimburses 70% of your tuition if chosen. It's a very competitive scholarship. We only award a small amount of that scholarship, but if you're willing and you want to apply, it will be by that May 2nd deadline. The prompt is within the application, and we're really just awarding those that we're looking for students who have had financial difficulties or have also spent some time and efforts in DEI and really kind of working in the diversity space and kind of advancing those efforts in your community. So if you have some examples of that, that's another option that you could respond. But it's all in the application and you'll see the information there. And if you do have questions on that, you can reach out to our team. One more question. You mentioned getting 2 diplomas. So yes, you would earn two master's degrees if you stack either an MSM or an MSA into the MBA. So you would start with either the Master in Science of Management, or you would do the accountancy master's degree. You would do that full program. You would earn your certificate, your diploma certificate, and your degree, and then you would apply to the MBA program at that point, and then you would earn a second degree if you complete both of those. I think we have a lot of stacking interest here tonight. So All right, I think we've got all of the questions answered. I am going to wrap up. I'll go ahead and put my email in the chat. If anybody has specific questions and you'd like to reach out to me, I'm happy to meet offline with you. But Mark and Stephanie, thank you so much for sharing all of your insight and your experience in the program. I think it's always really interesting to see how our students are using this in their real life, and making a difference and impacting their careers. We have a lot of return on investment data, but I'd much rather hear it from our students to see, the real world impact. So thank you for sharing your stories. I'm sure Mark and Stephanie are probably on LinkedIn. So if anybody here wants to connect offline, since we're all kind of in that consulting industry, I'm sure they would be willing if you reach out to them. Otherwise, I hope everyone has a great evening. And again, please reach out to us. We have a full team, myself, we're happy to chat with you. And we hope you're excited about Gies, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Thanks, Stephanie. Put your LinkedIn there. Perfect. All right. I hope everyone has a great evening, and bye.